All right, everybody. We got a special show today. Welcome to the Ed Fernandez Show. I've got, this is going to be a very interesting show. So I just got to warn some people, right? If you got a queasy stomach or whatever, you should take your kids out of the room. But I've got a special guest here that has become a friend of ours. Legit guy, Army Ranger. What is his title? No, for 1031 crowdfunding. No, isn't he like
director of security operations?
Director of security operations at 1031 crowdfunding. We just gave it to you yesterday, so I can't remember it. But I want to welcome to the show Jason Belford. Jason, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ed. I'm so blessed and honored to be here. And the new title, that's good. It's a good start to the next chapter.
This guy's got his office now here. He's got laptop. Look at him. He's from Alabama. He looks like he lives in California. All bougie now, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. So how's it been so far?
Man, it's been amazing. Like, I've never been here before, so it's different. I had to go out and buy some new threads and send my buddies pictures. Like, hey, Dave, does this look all right? Found out the other day that my casual is a lot different than your guys' casual, but I learned the hard way, so I've done that most of my life anyway, so we're good.
Oh, you look good, though, man. You look good. So I want to kind of go through some things. So Jason, he's been in the military for a long time, and I don't even know what these medals are, but I'm just there's like 20 of them on here. And, Bronze Star Medal, we've got Army Commendation Medals, Joint Service Achievement, Army Achievement Medals, National Defense Medals, Army Good Conduct, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, Global War on Terror Service Medal. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. And I wouldn't know, he's assigned to the 75th Ranger Regiment, 3rd Ranger Battalion. 1st Sergeant Belford served various positions in the 75th Ranger Regiment. And we can go on and on and on. So, Jason, out of these medals, I mean, which ones are the ones that you would kind of say, this means something to me?
Well, Ed, I'd say, they all kind of mean something to me in their own different way, and just honored to have them and have the opportunity to serve my country like I have. And, my Bronze Stars were awarded to me for combat service. Those mean something to me. It's such an honor to receive a Bronze Star in the military service. And, my Valorous Award, it means a lot to me, kind of stands for, you went above and beyond what your job was to do, and to, save a comrade or, a Ranger buddy or, a partner force, put your life on the line for somebody else's. And that's what it all is about being a Ranger, is just the guy to your left and right, and knowing that no matter what you do, they're going to be there to do exactly what you would do to give their life for yours if that's what it costs.
I've got some notes here. It looks like it says here you're the 1st Sergeant with the 75th Ranger Regiment, 3rd Battalion, and looks like you did 12 deployments totaling 66 months in combat zones. That's like 5.6 years overseas in 4 different countries. If you had to take in a war, I know it's going to be difficult for you to choose, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff or stories behind the reasons for getting these awards. If you had to pick one out of the blue, what would that award be, and what was the reason for that award?
Most people would probably pick their Valorous Award because, they feel like they went above and beyond, and, they got awarded for, doing something, spectacular. But for me, I think it would probably be my Bronze Stars.
Okay.
Just because I was in, when my first Bronze Star I got, I was a sniper doing some pretty cool sniper stuff. And
what do you mean cool sniper stuff? I want to know what that means. I mean, shooting a gun is cool, but I'm sure you're just not shooting the gun.
No, the cool thing about being a sniper in special operations is back in the day, we would get to the target. We'd get set up on the roof before the assault force would, blow the gate or blow the doors, and we'd have the opportunity. We'd pretty much cancel Christmases, before anybody else got into the gate. So all the guys in the assault force would be mad they walked for half a night.
And that nothing to do?
And the snipers killed everybody in the courtyard.
Wow, man. So that was one of the Bronze Stars as far as being a sniper.
Yeah, getting that for that service. And then being a platoon sergeant in the 75th Ranger Regiment was one of the most prestigious jobs I was able to have. You build a trust and companions and friends and guys that are literally willing to give their life for you. And one of my tattoos says Du Bois there, and that stands for 2nd Platoon Alpha Company, 3rd Ranger Battalion. And all the leaders got that tattoo.
Okay.
You just become such a strong bond that you're a task force in itself, and when the regiment sends you somewhere, like, they know that these 45 to 50 Rangers are going to do God's work, man, and we're going to bring it home, and we're going to do everything we can to bring each other home. And just leading those men into combat. There's nothing in this world like running off the back of a 47 blacked out at night with 50 of America's most badass men ready to do God's work on your behalf.
Wow, man. That is insane, huh?
Knowing that they would literally give their life for yours.
Yeah.
And they're there to work just as hard as you are, and they trust you. They've put their trust in you to bring them home and to do your job and do their job. And that's probably my next best one now.
Okay. Well, so, the idea of the Ed Fernandez show is really to talk about life, not just about money, right? And we're here to celebrate your life. What did Jason end up doing for this country? And what is the price did you pay? I mean, I'm sure you paid a price. This show right now is for all those vets out there, right? They go out there, they give their lives. I got to say, the federal government doesn't pay you guys anything to really do what you do. But then you give your whole life, right, to this cause and believe in the cause. You're not doing it for the money, right? You're doing it for the cause. And then to go out there, give your life, and then come back and have nothing, right? And so this show is about, what did Jason do out there? What was the cause that you gave? Why did you believe so much in the cause? And then when you said, I'm done, and you came home, what did you end up, what was life like then? So that's how we're going to cover this show, because I want it to be hope for your brothers, right? All your brothers out there, they go out and give their lives, they come back, and a lot of them don't have any hope. But here we want to talk about, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel, man. There is hope for you. So I think that's where I want to go with this. If you're okay with that, So, hey, so tell me, what is the, I'm just going to go off this because, I'm not a military guy. I don't really know much about the military. I love shooting guns. I'm a gun carrier and all that other stuff. But, there's a whole other level up there, and that's where you come in. What does the first sergeant with the 75th Ranger Regiment mean? What does that mean?
Well, to get to that position, you have to go to selection first as a young private, and be selected to do that job. But to get to the level of first sergeant in the 75th Ranger Regiment, you have to go back and reassessed to be a platoon sergeant, and then you have to go back again, and you're being reassessed for your ability to be a first sergeant, because every position has a different role, and every position takes on more Rangers under your.
So the more Rangers you have under your command. And this is a no-brainer, right? This is probably a stupid question. The more qualifications you have to go through for the trusting of these men's lives.
That's right. And, you have to, the best thing about regiment, what sets us apart from everybody else, is we're constantly being assessed. It is a job interview every day, 7 days a week, from your home life to your physical fitness. And to be a first sergeant there, it's a prestigious job. The only thing after a first sergeant is sergeant major, and there's only 4 or 5 of those in the regiment. So so you're one of 16 as a first sergeant and throughout the regiment, and you have a whole company. You have a what we call a ranger buddy, or your commander, that you guys are a command team together, and you from everything from personal issues dealing with Rangers all the way to dealing with casualties on the objective. Like first sergeant's there for every bit of it.
Okay.
Making sure that they're all their affairs are in order when they deploy, making sure that they're they have everything taken care of for their family, and they're always living by our blue book and the Ranger Creed.
Okay.
To continue to keep them on the right path for development in their career. And then if they're not developing their career and their platoon sergeants identified that, they bring it to the first sergeant and we assess them. I assess them. And the thing about the regiment is if you're not performing, we can release you for standards. It's called RFS, and send you back out.
So you gotta constantly be like on your game. You can't just like think you've arrived and you're gonna be on this Ranger team. You gotta constantly be like, because you guys are always checking to make sure they're tight. I'm sure you're getting checked to make sure you're tight, right? And you said something. What is a Ranger Creed? Making sure that these guys are living by the Ranger Creed. What is that?
The Ranger Creed is, what we define ourselves by, what we live by. I'll move further, faster, and fight harder than any other soldier. Never shall fail my comrades. Though I be the lone survivor. All those are.
So there's like
6 stanzas of the Ranger Creed.
Okay, so there are 6. You said 6?
6 stanzas of the Ranger Creed.
Okay,
It all spells out Ranger, And,
okay.
Throughout the creed, it just gives you ways to define yourself morally, ethically, through leadership, sacrifice, and we always tell people put your tan beret in one hand and put your bad decision in the other and see which one weighs more, because if you're living by the creed, you'll be able to make those decisions better.
So what is the difference between an Army Ranger, a Delta Force, and a Navy SEAL operator? I got to hear this.
Well, first off, SEALs need heroes too.
What does that mean?
I've been on a couple of Blackhawks where they needed our help.
So you had to go and get them out?
No, so they're all part of JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command, and you have to be a Delta Force operator. You have to go through another set of selection, and all kinds of different things, and have to meet certain criteria, just, like a Ranger, but Rangers deploy with each one of those entities. And
a Delta Force is what part of the military?
It's Army.
It's Army. Okay, so they got Army Delta Force, then you got the Army Rangers, and then you got Navy SEALs, obviously the Navy.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They all have their specific roles and jobs, which I'm not at liberty to get into those type of specific jobs.
No, you're good.
They all have their specific jobs that they do and requirements. And one reason I love being a Ranger is that, there's some of these job requirements that we can't do, but there's some of the job requirements that they can't do without us.
Got it.
So we're able to be on all of those things as opposed to just being specific to one or two.
Okay. All right. What? I don't know if you can answer this question, but what do Army Rangers do? Close
with and destroy the enemy of the United States of America. Our forte would be, airfield seizures, under the cover of darkness.
Okay.
Taking over airfields. That's what Rangers are known for. You can look that up on YouTube all day. But
okay.
We're
I know you got to be careful what you say. So, say what you can and whatever you can't. You guys take over airports, airfields.
So we can bring in the rest of the
Bring our stuff in, right? And so, you may have an enemy that actually controls an airfield. You go out and you take out that enemy. You control the airfield so you can bring supplies in, and actually now it's your airfield.
Right.
Okay.
That's one part of our specific, but I'd say we're somewhat surgical in room clearing and.
Okay. Do you get the same equipment? Like everybody gets the same equipment? You got the nods and all that stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the operators in like Delta SEAL Team 6 type guys, they get that special money.
Okay. Oh, they get that special money. Okay.
But we do have the best of the best equipment, and we get to try out, if there's a new piece of equipment out, we're going to try it out. We're going to use it for a while. And then if we're like, yeah, this is what the Army needs, then the Army comes to us and be like, what are you guys doing different that we can pay for and supply the rest of the soldiers with to make them as successful as you are?
Got it. Well, we talked about the creed. We talked about, operation forces like Navy SEALs, things like that. Let's get into a real story. Because, you go out there with your guys, you're leading these guys, you're responsible for these guys' lives, you're going into harm's way. What is a story that you feel comfortable in sharing with the group? And the reason why, with the audience, not the group, I apologize, but the reason why I want to understand, in real life, what you end up doing is because then I'm going to start asking you, well, what did you come home with? Mm-hmm. Right? So how crazy of a story do you have is the first question. And then I'll ask the question after that is, what impact did that have on your life?
Well, how much time do we have for the show?
We have all the time in the world, right? So we're not on a time clock here.
So, I got a couple, I probably, if it wasn't for Laurel Ridge and me going and getting the help that you know about already that we'll get to, I wouldn't freely talk over them, but I tell my stories and I tell my struggles because I want people to get help. Yeah. I want them to know that they're not dealing with that alone. So a couple of ones that, really hit home with me. I took a life of a 12-year-old girl.
Okay.
In combat. She had a AK-47 across her chest, moving towards the assault force. That was my job, did my job. At the time, you just put that mask on.
Were you a sniper or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're like, whatever, just another one notching the belt, you kind of.
So this 12-year-old had an AK-47. She was going towards your guys.
Yeah.
And it was intentional. She was going there to harm some.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course she was, but, you don't really react or think about anything other than that's what's going on.
Protecting your guys.
When I came home, I couldn't hardly look at my own daughters.
Okay.
That's what happens.
Does that still play in your mind?
Not as much anymore. I had to deal with it.
Okay. And how'd you deal with it?
I got therapy. I got help. I found the Lord.
Okay.
Amen.
All right. Whoop, whoop. Jesus, right?
Amen to that. And, I not to get into a whole lot of detail, but I beat a dude to death with my bare hands. I lost all my equipment jumping off of a roof onto another roof, and my nods fell off, and my gun fell out of my holster, and it was me and him and fisticuffs. And
okay.
I kind of, my nods were beating my nose to death, and I was getting butt stroked in the chin by my own rifle. And I went to shoot him, and he dropped the magazine in my rifle, so I only had one round, and he moved. I missed him, so then it was just me and him.
Okay. It was your life or his.
Yeah, and so we, so I handled my business, and that I don't know why, but that I knew that I was fighting for my life, but that really dug deep into me for a long time.
Why? Why did it dig deep into you?
I've killed a lot of people, and pulling the trigger is just another, trigger squeeze, side alignment. That's just how I got with that. But
right.
I don't know, that. I don't know if it was the act or
it's just something about
if I was capable of doing something of that. You know what I mean?
It's just something about using your hands to take somebody's life.
Yeah,
that just is just a whole other level.
Yeah, it just literally, and it didn't really bother me for a while. And when you're young, you're like,
whatever.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude, I did that, you know. But you know, the older I get, the more I, come into, having feelings and emotions and understanding of myself. And
how long did it take you to kind of work that out? Years. And who told you to go get help? I mean, because a lot of guys, and look, I'm not in the military again, I don't know, but a lot of guys I'm sure struggle with, I don't need help.
I was one of those guys.
Okay. Why?
Well, first, back in the day, it was frowned upon to get help,
It's like you're weak.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you're weak. You got to go get help. You got to talk to the psychiatrist. And guys just said, you know what? I'm not weak. I'm not doing that.
Right. And not only that, you got labeled like, man, this guy's got issues. He can't serve in this position. He can't do this job.
So it would affect your job.
He needs to take a knee and face out for a while until he gets his life right. And then maybe we can be assessed to do this job again. So
let me ask you this. So you guys don't get paid a lot of money, in my opinion, for doing what you do. Okay. But I think there's a term called combat pay. Right, you get your regular money, and then when you get deployed, you get some extra money, and normally that extra money kind of gives you over the hump. And so if you go and you say I need help, you ain't going out and being deployed. You're just getting your regular money, and that could be poverty or struggle. Is that? Am I tracking?
Yeah, that extra money is only about $500 a month.
That's it? To go out and deploy?
Depending on what your rank is.
Holy moly.
Might be an extra $700 based on your rank.
Wow. But that $700 or $500 is a big deal.
To a guy not making a bunch of money.
Okay.
Especially if you're deployed for a while and you get tax-free all year long, that's, now you're making, if you make 70 grand, you're going to get that 70 grand for the whole year.
Got it.
Because it's tax-free.
Got it. So that was why a lot of guys won't go out and get help. Was that one of the reasons why you didn't go out and get help for a long time? Is because, number one, you looked like you were a wimp, and number two, it would affect your money?
Yeah, it definitely would have affected my money. And I didn't join the Army for the money, but I definitely wanted to continue to just drive on as a soldier and a Ranger. And I didn't want to be stereotyped as he's got issues or, this, that, or the other. So just put the mask on and, look tough, be tough, and stay ready. You don't have to get ready, and, always try to be in the front, lead from the front and all that. So I just put it down deep and buried it in a little box. And I was like, I either won't deal with it or I'll deal with it later.
And so if you buried it deep in the box, when did it actually, raise its ugly head?
When things started slowing down for me.
Meaning combat.
Yeah.
So when you're out there in combat, you don't even think about it because you're thinking about life. Mm-hmm. But as soon as the combat starts slowing down, now you got to start thinking about your life.
Yeah, because you talk about things moving fast. Like in 2010, I lost two of my really good friends, Jay and Ronnie, and
how'd you lose them?
They both got killed in the same doorway, and as they were going into a house and.
They got shot?
They got shot. Yeah,
okay.
Someone shot them. And they, so I watched that happen, but the mission was, they died on the 23rd. So the mission was, the night of the 22nd. And we did what's called a ramp side ceremony where, you fly to Bagram Airfield. They bring them out in, their flag covered caskets, load them on a C-17 and fly them back to America. But we did that the next night, and then the next night we were out on another mission.
Really?
You don't have time
there's no time to mourn.
Process, and,
okay.
And that's by design.
That's by design?
That's by design.
Okay.
Because, I will always place the mission first. Okay. I will never accept defeat. Like, okay. Those are all like the creeds that,
Got it.
that you live by. And if you slow down enough to let all that sink in, and you're going to lose the focus and maybe take a chance of losing other people's lives. So that's by design, and it sucks. But then a few months pass, and then you go home, and then you realize you don't have your drinking buddies, go have a beer with, and
Start getting a little depressed.
Yeah, and then it, hits you at once, and then
all of a sudden all this stuff starts coming up.
Drowned it in alcohol and bad decisions. And
was that you?
That was me.
That was you?
100%.
Just drinking, trying to
suppress it,
medicate the issues.
Yeah.
And then that just compounds into other issues.
Into, your family life and
got it.
Marital problems and issues and just not being a good person.
Got it. So why did you get into the military?
Well, I come from a background of military. My older brothers were in the military.
Okay. How many older brothers you got?
2.
Are they still around?
Now, my oldest brother died of leukemia.
Okay.
When he was 31, I was 23. He's one of the reasons I joined the service. And then my next brother, oldest brother, he retired from the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So,
is your oldest brother good in the head?
Well, I mean, that's we had 2 totally different jobs.
Okay.
He hasn't seen or done.
Okay. He hasn't seen the combat that you've seen. Okay.
But whenever 9/11 happened, I was,
How old were you?
I was 20, I think.
20 years old,
20.
and that's when you decided I'm going in the military?
Well, that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't have, I got kicked out of high school.
Okay.
I didn't have a GED. I didn't have any education. I could, when I took the TAB test, I was reading at like a 5th grade level.
Wow. So how'd you get in?
Before my brother died, he told me, you can do anything you put your mind to and don't let the old man keep you from that.
Old man, who's that?
My dad.
Okay. So your daddy was a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, no matter, what anybody else says, whatever you put your mind and heart to, you'll be able to do. I believe you.
So when you went out and got your GED?
So I went out, got my GED. Took me a couple tries, but I got her figured out.
You got it.
And then when I got in to try to get into the Army, the ASVAB, is almost all mathematical stuff. And it's
ASVAB, what the heck is that?
It's an aptitude test.
Okay. So you got to take a math test to get into the Army?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Holy moly. They don't just take anybody.
No, you have to pass, you have to score a certain level on it.
Okay.
And all that. And then you have to have different line scores to do certain jobs in the Army. So
how did you get past all these tests? So you're reading at a 5th grade level. You didn't graduate high school, so you left high school. You went and got your GED. You started taking these tests. The GED, if you look back, it's really not that difficult to get. Mm-hmm. But now you're taking these mathematical tests. How did you pass?
My first wife, she was very book smart and savvy, and she
tutored you.
She tutored me all through it. You know,
Okay.
and she helped me get into the pass all those tests and stuff. And
Was it a grind?
it was a miserable grind. It was a miserable grind. It was like cramming 12 years of education into 3, 4, 5 months.
Got it. When you passed, though, what did you feel like?
I felt like I could do it.
Felt like somebody, huh?
I felt like I was like, I'm not, I have what I call my red lines, which I've worked on a lot in my counseling over the last few years. But
What's by red lines? What is that?
my red lines is like, somebody calling me dumb, stupid, retarded, an idiot.
Does that trigger you?
It used to.
Used to trigger you. So
Yeah.
trigger anger?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm going to
instantly.
smash you.
Like we're going fisticuffs, bro.
Okay.
We're throwing blows.
Okay.
Because that's how.
Because you always, everybody would bully you like that,
all,
right?
Yeah, that's all I heard growing up.
Everybody was just pushing you down, pushing you down, pushing you
Yeah.
down. Okay.
And then I got my black belt. I became a boxer. I did kickboxing, blue belt in jiu-jitsu. Like I was like, dude, talk about me and see what happens.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
So you're like,
bully me again.
Okay.
I went from 140 to 210 pounds. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I'm like not being bullied in that area again.
Okay.
So those are like red lines for me. And it felt good to me when I passed all those things and was able to like start seeing success in my life.
Yeah. That pushed you really hard, right? To be the best.
Like I can do this.
Yeah. So it's a mental thing.
For me, it was.
I mean, I think this is a huge thing. So I have this rubber band, right? We talked about it. And so I snap it, and you know, it doesn't feel good when I snap it, but I do that to train my mind, right? Because my mind is a very powerful thing. My mind can tell me I'm a failure, even though I'm a CEO and president of this company, and you know, our lifestyle is amazing by the grace of God. But I could wake up in the morning and my mind can tell me, oh, you're old, you're tired. When is this gonna stop? All of a sudden I can feel like a victim. So I gotta snap this thing and go, shut up. You're not gonna control me. My mind is gonna do what I tell it to do, and my body's gonna follow. Was that something that you kind of was starting to figure out?
Yeah, because I had listened to everybody my whole life about what my worth. You know, I let them define what my worth was. So I started finding that in myself a little bit better.
Okay.
And Jesus has always been in my life, but I haven't always kept my eyes on him.
Okay.
Throughout my whole career, and like the little things he says, like I looking back and reflecting, like I can see like
his hand.
I got
his hand on you.
You know, and
I mean, you survived combat.
Unbelievable.
How many people can say, I did this, I had bullets flying, I was doing this, I was doing that, and you come home
unscathed for the most part,
right? I mean, you broke some bones and whatever.
Mentally,
your mind is, but you came home. You know what I mean? And that's only by the grace of God.
Amen. And you know, I've taken time to reflect on that. You know, the last probably year.
Okay.
And I just wouldn't be where I am without, you know, good mentors in my life. I'm thankful to have you now as a new mentor.
Praise God.
And Ruth and Dave and my beautiful wife, you know, like
recently married.
Amen.
Just came back from a honeymoon. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you only known it for like
8 months.
8 months. And then put a ring on it.
She's way out of my class, brother. She is way out of my she's amazing. You know, like I told her in my vows, I wrote my own vows to her. I told her, like, you know, she has brought out the best in me. And she met me towards the end of the worst time of my life. I just came out of a 30-day rehab for, you know.
And she still wanted you.
And she's like, she has the purest heart, Ed. It's just amazing.
What's her name?
Kirsten.
Kirsten?
The purest heart. And in my, I'm not going to cry, by the way. In my vows to her, you know, it was like her sweetness and her purity, just totally opposite of what I was used to in my relationships.
Yeah.
Completely opposite.
Yeah.
And her calmness, she just has this calmness about her. She's so loving and trusting, and her sweet heart, and like has literally like made me feel like that's okay to just be yourself.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to be this Superman all the time.
Yeah. And she's like, I just love you for you. Like all these other things that you've done is so amazing. I'm proud of you, but like everybody else gets to see like the big, strong Jason protectors, like, but I get to see the teddy bear.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you feel comfortable.
So comfortable.
In showing that to her, right? Because, you know, identity for a man is a big deal, right? If you don't have an identity, that really don't have any purpose.
And on the identity thing, like I when I left the Ranger Regiment, I felt like I lost my entire identity.
And you know what? And it totally makes sense, right? Now, who am I?
Yeah.
Right? You go home, this is what I was. Now, who am I?
Who am I?
And you don't know.
And I felt like I lost like
your life.
My life.
Your life was over.
I'd went through a divorce. I sent him for the Ranger Regiment. You know, I just left that, and I was literally like just the brakes completely put on everything that I had put my life into.
Yeah, was over.
Was gone.
Was over. What caused you to leave the military? What was it? You just got old. You couldn't do it anymore. You just you were done with it? Why did you leave the military? Because you could probably still be in it if you chose to.
Honestly, like I was just mentally drained from it.
What does that mean? Mentally drained from it? Because here's what I gotta do. I'm hoping that you got some brothers out there that are gonna watch this. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I'm going to dig into terms that you say, because mentally draining, I'm mentally drained. When I leave this office, I'm mentally drained. But it's not the same mentally drained as what you may be thinking.
Right.
So what does that mean?
When I go to work, put my uniform on or go to the field, like go out and train or whatever. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say I wouldn't call them flashbacks. I would just call them like remembering.
Remembering what?
Like my brothers, or some of the bad things I've been through. I'd be like, what, when I first joined the Army and then all the way through, to the last few years, like I felt like everything we did had a purpose. Everything we did was for something.
Yeah.
And then it went from believing in that to like, not feeling supported by our own country.
Really? Because of the current times?
Because of the current times.
That is insane.
And, I got to a point, for a little while there where I was like, what the hell am I doing?
Giving my life for this country, and this country don't even want me.
Right.
Or they don't even appreciate what I've done. They don't appreciate, you got people burning the flag, pissing on the flag. You got people don't thinking that the rights of you're fighting are even worth fighting anymore. So you're out there going, well, why am I fighting?
Right. Here, you go and do it.
You go fight.
Because I'm not, I try to be the most humble dude there is. I don't.
Yeah, you don't, I know, the little time I've known you, you're not, you don't puff out your chest or nothing, but you know your stuff.
Yeah, and pat on the backs and, thank you for your service. That still kind of makes me a little,
uneasy.
Uneasy, okay. But I stopped losing purpose in the support of for the mission, for the country, if you will.
Yeah.
There always had a purpose, freedom isn't free, and if something else busted out, I was wanted to be the guy, be there to take out head on. But, and it became more of, it's more about the men to my left and right.
So, okay. So before it was, let me defend my country. Mm-hmm. Then the country started changing, and now you're like, okay, well, it's about the guys that are around me. I got to make sure they get home. Right. And that was your purpose.
And seeing how hard they train and how hard they fight, just made me want to lead them even more or be a part of that organization more. And, the farther along I went, I was, the less, everything just became a burden.
So you're like, I'm done.
I'm like, I'm over it. Dude.
I'm done. So you get out of the Army. When did you hit rock bottom? What was that event that said, I'm at the lowest point of my life ever?
Well, I went through my divorce.
Okay. Did you love her?
Well,
were you in love with her?
I think I lusted her.
Got it. Yeah, that's a whole different ball.
That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Because instead of finding my own identity myself, I put it in her.
Okay.
And
so she was everything.
Yeah. So I thought, I put that out. She wasn't, but she was because I felt like I was just being a family man and doing those things and all that. And then we went through my divorce.
How long ago was that?
A little over a year now.
Okay, so you've been divorced almost a year.
And then, so the divorce, leaving the regiment, and then throughout the divorce, I was, homeless. Last March.
What does that mean, homeless?
Last March, I was homeless. I would shower in my truck, shower at work, sleep in my truck sometimes, stay at a buddy's house, sleep in my office. Because when I was going through divorce, I gave my ex-wife, and the kids had the house.
Okay.
And I was paying for all of the bills at the house. And
so you didn't have enough money to pay for your own little place.
My own little place until I got an apartment, one of the old apartments on post that didn't take all your BAH, it was money they allow you for housing.
Yeah. Was that somebody help you with that? Somebody pull some strings for you or something like that?
One of my buddies pulled a few strings and got me a cheap apartment on post.
Okay. And when you were homeless, I mean, because there's a lot of guys out there right now that are homeless. And some of these poor guys that are cuckoo that we see walking around, we all think maybe they're just drug addicts and that's how they want to live. But we don't know what these poor homeless people are going through. I promise you, a lot of them have to be vets. Mm-hmm. So you were homeless. Why are you not cuckoo? Why are you not walking around out there with poop in your pockets, talking to yourself? Why aren't you that guy?
Well, when I was growing up, I dealt with a lot of alcohol abuse and, in my younger years, some drug stuff. And
from your family, from your mom and your dad and things like that.
And I drank obviously, but I never got into the drugs.
So you said to yourself, I'm never going to do that.
Never going to do that.
Going to do that. Mm-hmm. And you think, and you believe that's what, you were homeless, but you were homeless because of the economic pressure. You weren't homeless because you were nuts.
Right.
Okay.
And when I hit rock bottom, I was.
What does that look like? Paint that picture. I want you to paint the picture of rock bottom. So I'm going to help you. Mm-hmm. You wake up in the morning. You're in your truck, right? What does that look like? What is that routine? What does that feel like?
The one thing that helped me before I got my little apartment was I would go get my kids for dinner. And then I started spending all my savings, taking my kids to dinner every night. So we go to the park.
That would make you feel a little bit normal just for that period of time. Didn't matter. I woke up in the morning. I'm sleeping in my truck, but you had something to look forward to. Right, tonight I'm taking my kids out to dinner. I don't care what it costs. I'm gonna go get a shower. I'm gonna put some clean clothes on, and I'm gonna go get my babies.
Yeah. And I tried to. They just thought I had an apartment. They never knew.
They never knew
any different.
They never knew. Is that because you said to yourself when you were a young kid, you saw so much stupid stuff that your parents did that you said, I am never taking my kids through that stuff?
I'm breaking that chain.
You're breaking that chain.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And so they, I did the whole sleeping in my truck for a few months and showering at work.
What did that feel like, though? I mean, I want to know, what did that feel like?
So many times, or I'd sleep at my buddy's house or wherever I was at, I would say, I'd be like, how in the hell am I a first sergeant in the 75th Ranger Regiment? I have no money. I'm divorced, I'm sleeping in my truck, bumming off a couch, sleeping in my office couch.
Were you hopeless?
I was like, this is what is up from here? Because this couldn't get any worse.
So you were in a deep black hole and you didn't know how you were going to get out of it. Mm-hmm. Were you depressed all the time?
All the time. So when I got my apartment, I only had a futon.
Okay.
And that was it. So that Alan Jackson song, the Stark Naked Light Bulb, that song, how many times I've heard that song in my apartment. But it got where, I'd go home to my apartment and sit on my futon that my buddy gave me. He had an extra couch. And I would look at my pistol every night.
Really?
And
you would look at your pistol every night, and what would you be thinking?
I'd be like, that's
the easy way out.
If I take that way out, my kids get X amount of dollars, so they'll be taken care of, and they won't have to see a dad as a failure.
Wow, man. Every night. In your heart, though, I got to believe there was a small voice talking to you that kept you from doing that.
Well,
It's good, brother. Let's go.
Um,
Tears are good. Grown men cry, brother. I just want to let you know that. I'm a crier. I don't even care. But if you got to get some tears here, you a grown man, dude. You are a conqueror. You're a warrior. You're a fighter. You're a child of the Most High God. So it's okay, man. Because your brothers need this.
I had a counselor one time tell me that when you get in the lowest point, think of the happiest time in your life. And I didn't have any happy times, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a snapshot. My youngest daughter, Peyton, was maybe 9 months old around Christmas time. And mom had fed her. She couldn't get her to go to sleep. And I was off work. So I just picked her up and I was like, I'll take her out here. You can go to sleep. And I set her in my rocking chair. The Christmas tree's on, fireplace, and just rocking her. And I look at her. She's wide awake. She's just quiet as a mouse, staring at me. And I just took that snapshot, and that became like my why.
Okay.
And every time I would get close, I would just see that picture of
yeah, you got me tearing up too, bro.
I tell her she's my saving grace.
Yeah.
And I just kept fighting it. And fighting it. And fighting it. And the divorce got worse. My money got worse. And I got up, put my uniform on one morning. I went to work.
You were a police officer at this time.
No, I was still in the Army.
You're still in the Army, okay.
And I was out of gas. I didn't have any
money for gas.
I'm like, this is the end, man. You know?
Yeah.
And
it can only take so much. So what turned it around?
Well, I went home and put that gun in my mouth and pulled the trigger.
It didn't fire?
And it went click.
Wow.
Yeah. Dave has the bullet.
Dave has the bullet?
Mm-hmm. And
holy moly. I didn't even know this.
And at that moment, like, I was like, I saw that picture of my baby again. And I didn't have a place to go. The only place I knew is home for me, and home in my heart, home in my life thus far was the Ranger Regiment. And I tell this whole story because just to tell you how good God is. I went to the nurse case manager's office. She was just walking out to her car to go home for the day. And Teresa Ariel is her name. Amazing woman. And she helped save my life. She would have been there today. I would made it in my mind I was just going to go home and re-rack another round and send it. And I walked up to Teresa and I just fell apart.
And what did she do for you? She just sat there and listened?
She put me in her truck. She called Lieutenant Colonel Simonette, the counselor. She's just an amazing woman. She's still checks on me.
Does she?
They never left my side until I went to Little Ridge. And the backstory to that is Teresa didn't tell me this until after, but she had a dentist appointment and she was supposed to leave work that day at like 1:00.
Uh-huh.
And work had just piled up on her so much, and she never cancels appointments, but she's like, I got to cancel this appointment. You know, I'm not going to be able to make it. I got all this work to do. And then 2 hours later, I showed up, and she wouldn't even have been there.
Wow, man.
And she said she went home and told her husband that day, you know, like, you know, I never cancel appointments, but if it wasn't for God today, Jason might not be here, because I would have canceled that appointment. I wouldn't have canceled that appointment.
So you see the grace and the hand of God on your life. The bullet doesn't fire. You go and you see this lady. She's going home. She never cancels appointment, but just for some reason, she ends up canceling the appointment. She's there. You talk to her. She never leaves your side, and you're here today.
Amen.
That's amazing. So when I met you, you know, I was going out to Alabama, right? Our friend Marcus, right, who trains limitless canines, right? So I got a dog from him. And so we're going to Alabama, right, to go do some training, right, with the dog and some gun training. And Marcus was telling me, oh, you know, AD, right? You know, Anthony, you know, you talked about it, but I really didn't know you. I didn't hear about you or nothing like that. So you show up, but you almost didn't show up.
I almost didn't show up. Yeah.
Why? Tell me that. Tell me what happened there.
You know, like, I knew you guys were coming, and it was, you know, it's an hour, 40-minute drive for me from my house to the ranch. And I was working as a police officer in the jail, and I had to drive to, so I had a late night the night before, and then I had to be at Fort Benning to go do Army stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm working on getting out of the Army. The next morning at, you know, like 8 o'clock or whatever, it was 7 o'clock actually. So I was like, I got to drive all the way out there to the ranch. Hard telling how long I'm going to be out there training. And it's another 2-hour drive back. Then I got to shower, get ready, and go and drive 2.5 hours to Fort Benning tomorrow. Like, and I text Marcus and I was like, hey, bro, you still need me for today? This is early in the morning. Yeah. And he's like, because the day before, he's like, Anthony's going to be here too. And I was like, well, Anthony can handle it. Yeah. You know? And I won't, that way I don't have to drive all the way out there. So I text Marcus early that morning, and he's like, yeah, man, come on out. I'd love for you to meet Ed and Darian, you know, and let them, you know, get to see you help train. And just, I was like, I don't want to let Marcus down. Yeah. You know, so I was like, all right. Well, I was like, I'll be there in a couple of hours, because, you know, it took me to drive there. And you've been a blessing in my life ever since, brother.
So you drive up, right? You got Havoc, right, which is Avor, my dog's uncle. And we do some training, right? But you didn't look happy, bro. You didn't look happy.
Weighted heavy.
Yeah, you looked, I was like, what's up with this guy, you know? And then I think we were having dinner, right? So Anthony, right, Navy SEAL guy, he's cooking some steaks, right, in that green egg, right? Because I got tired of eating that. Look, hey, Alabama got some great barbecue, but I'm from California, bro. I thought I was going to have a heart attack with all that grease. So I was like, I can't eat this food anymore, man. I'm feeling like crap. So we finally get some steaks, right? And Anthony's making these steaks in this green egg thing, and he made some onions, dude, like out of this world, right? Yeah. Right, Darian? Was those onions bomb? Woo-wee. I mean, I never had onions like that in my life. I was like, dang, I need some more of these onions. I got to get that recipe. You know, I don't have Anthony's number, so you got to text him for me. Gotcha. Anthony, how we made those onions. And we're eating, right? And the food is so good after eating all these stinking mac and cheese and sweet tea. And, you know, you just asked me, they don't have no sweet tea here? I'm like, dude, that's a heart attack, bro. We don't have sweet tea here in California. 3 cups to every gallon. I'm like, oh, my God, right? So we're eating all this food, and we start talking about God, right? We start talking about God. And that's the first time, I kind of realized, okay, this guy believes in Jesus, right? And, you're an owner, right? You're an equity owner in a ranch called Legacy Ranch, right? And Legacy Ranch is putting this thing together over there in Fayette, Alabama, right? For training and this and that and all this other stuff. But my wife was having issues, right? So when you get on camera and TV and shows and you got money and this and all that other stuff, my wife is an author. She writes books. She goes in public speaking, and she's been, almost kidnapped for sex trafficking and roofied and this and that. And a lot of stuff happens to her when I'm not around, because then I handle my business, right? I'm not you, but I will shoot a fool if I have to.
Amen.
Sorry. To protect my family. And we got to know you, right? And like, hey, Jason, we need help. I need my wife protected, because my wife hasn't felt safe ever since that event happened in Vegas at the Wynn, when a couple guys almost escorted her into a van and knew her name and almost took her from us. So it became very serious, right? We started spending money on a security dog in all our house, and we said, hey, Jason, can you help us? Tell me a little bit about when we approached you, what was going through your mind, and where are you today?
I remember that, I was like, when you said, talked about that, I was like, I can go to DC with her for a little while if you want, I thought it was like a one-time opportunity, and
let me explain. So my wife was going to DC with my little one, right? 14 years old, and she was worried, right? And you said, hey, I'll help her with that DC trip, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I was like, well, DC ain't far from her, so I can go up there for a few days with Havoc, and so she can relax and have a good time. I really enjoyed my time with you and Darian, and I was like, I'm sure Miss Ruth's probably just as sweet as they are. So, you're like, yeah, let's do it. And so at first I assumed I was like this, because, I was getting ready to go to the police academy.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's probably just a one-time gig, and, make a little extra side money and be thankful for it. What a blessing. Definitely at the time, because I was paying for a wedding. My wife was moving from PA, and so I was like, yeah, definitely, this will definitely help us out. Because literally, I don't know if you know this or not, but Kirsten moved to Alabama, like, let's call it a Monday, and then I went to help Miss Ruth like the next Monday. So she'd been in Alabama a week, and then I left for a week.
Oh shoot! But
I tell her, I was like, "Baby, this is a good gig for us. This will help us out, like financially." So, then me and Miss Ruth just had a connection. Like, she enjoyed my company and felt safe, which gave me a sense of purpose. And I was like, that's good. I'm glad that I'm able to provide this for her. And
what kind of encounter did you have with God when you were with my wife?
Look.
Woo, let's go, baby. Let's go. I want to know the encounter, big boy. Let's do this.
So Miss Ruth's really quiet at first, because she can read you like a book.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we started talking. She'd tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell me this or whatever. And she'd be like, she was telling me things, dude, I hadn't even said yet, about my life.
Freaking you out, huh?
Dude, just bringing tears, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm supposed to be your security guard. It was just a blessing. Like, I'd be telling Kirsten, like, dude, I didn't say anything to her. She's telling me these, like, about my childhood, or she's telling me this about, my marriage and my ex-wife, this and that. I was like, what? And I was like, this woman hadn't been touched, by the hand.
Did that take you to another level when it came to God? Like, You knew about God, right? You had somewhat of a relationship with God, but to know that God loved you so much and that he pointed you out from all the people on this earth and said, Jason, come with me.
Amen.
I'm going to show you how much I love you. Did you feel that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to get the offer to continue to serve, for you and 1031 and Ruth, was another like next level blessing. I was like, what's going on?
So what did we do? So we said, you know what? 1031 crowdfunding is going to the moon, right? So all of us in this room right now, we've got an audience, whoop, whoop, all got their spacesuits on, right? Now you got one.
Amen.
Because you're going to the moon, right? So we figured we're going to go to the moon, right? And this is just going to get bigger, bigger, and bigger. So you told me you were security for the U.S. diplomat of what country?
The ambassador to Syria.
The ambassador of Syria. That's no joke, right? So that's high level stuff. So I said, crap, this guy's no joke. He's a great guy. We need security, right? So what's your title? I want to know what's your title. What's the title for 1031 crowdfunding?
Director of Security Operations. What
does that mean?
I don't know. We're going to figure that one out. No, it means to me, like, it's funny. I took a picture of my email signature.
Yeah. So he's got his own 1031 crowdfunding email, right?
I sent it to.
You got your own office. You
it has a balcony and
you got a balcony with a golf
button green
on there. What? A year ago, bro, you were homeless. And in a year, you now have experienced eating at fine restaurants.
Amen to that.
Right?
I housed that steak.
Right. I know. I was like, what the heck? This guy puts it down, right? We're doing that tonight, by the way.
Amen.
Right? Private plane.
Wow.
Cabo.
What?
Right? I mean, have you ever thought, did you ever think that God could exalt you to a level where you're hanging out with the ballers?
Negative. I like I said in the beginning, little pictures that I can look back and see like God was there. Over the last year and after, that suicide attempt, it was like God reached into my life and was like, bro, let me show you how much purpose I have for you. And anything I do, any podcast I'm on, everybody I talk to, when people are like, how'd you deal with this? Or what about this? I was like, the Lord loves me, man. I was like, Jesus saved me more than just once.
What advice would you give after everything you've been through and where you are today? Because your life is on a roller coaster, brother.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? And it's exciting. What advice would you give to your brothers out there that are going through what you went through?
Jesus is hope. Have faith in the Lord. Give your problems over to Him. Trust and believe. And whenever Peter walked on the water, I was telling Miss Ruth this last night when we were exercising. I heard a little sermon about how they were going through the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to that, Jesus told him, I'll meet you on the other side. I'll meet you at the city. He didn't say, I'll meet you as long as there's no storm.
Yeah.
I'll meet you if it's smooth sailing.
Yeah.
See, I'll meet you on the other side. Jesus knew they were going to be there.
Yeah.
He knew there's going to be a storm, but he knew they were going to get through it.
Yeah.
And
that's good, man.
He knew I was going to be here. And he knew there's going to be storms in my life to get through.
Uh-huh.
But he said, I'll see you over there because he knows the ending.
That's so good.
you know, I've had some long, just pouring it out.
Yeah.
And the more I pour out, the more he pours in. And I feel blessed.
Do you think, and this is, you know, this is just a spontaneous thing, bro, but do you think someday, along with Legacy Ranch, that we can create some type of nonprofit organization and get your brothers to the point to where there's hope?
Oh, man, that would be a dream.
You know what I mean?
Amen. Yeah.
Right? I mean, because you can't take what you have and bottle it up, right? Mm-hmm. We got to put it in a bottle so other people can drink it, right?
Yeah.
Because how many guys out there right now? Because, you know, it's easy to say, you know, the language that we use when we are lovers of Jesus is hard to comprehend when you're in the middle of the storm. Mm. It's hard to say, to believe, trust. He's there with you when you ain't got no food, when you're living in the streets, when people are talking about you, when you got no support. So how do we get those guys hope? Because I could preach all day long, but if I can't supply you a bed to put your head on, what good is it? If I can't supply you with a job so you can feel like you're a man and have identity, what good is it? Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, as we continue to do these shows, I think one day we'll have a podcast launching the nonprofit.
Absolutely.
That you're going to be the head of to help your brothers come out of darkness, right?
Amen.
I think that's going to be a really cool thing, you know. And so Jason, you know, we'll close with this, man. It's an honor to have you part of our organization. It's an honor to see what God is doing with you and your family. I remember you sending me a picture of your wife buying a new Bronco.
Amen.
Who would have thought, right? That how good God is. And so I wanted to say thank you, man, for being a part of this organization, being a part of our family. I'm so excited to see what God is going to do and continue to do in your life and how he's going to use you to help your brother. So I want to say thank you so much for your service. Thank you for being the best part of 1031 crowdfunding. Until next time, brother.
Hey, thank you for having me, Ed. You're a blessing. Your whole family's a blessing, and my family's blessed to be a part of your guys' family now. Thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome, brother. Thank you so much for being here, man. All right, bro.